The Mandarin Oriental's grand ballroom sparkled with wealth and pretension as I adjusted my deliberately plain black shirt, actually a $3,000 Tom Ford piece designed to look like service staff attire. My father's 65th birthday celebration was in full swing, and as usual my stepmother Victoria had found a way to humiliate me. "Since you're not doing anything important with your life," she'd sneered, handing me a cleaning cloth, "at least make yourself useful and help the staff." If they only knew that while I was cleaning tables, my investment firm Eclipse Capital had quietly become one of the most powerful forces in global finance. But that was the beauty of being underestimated. People reveal their true nature when they think you're beneath them. "Look at Rachel," my sister Amanda stage whispered to her hedge fund manager husband. "Still playing poor while living off dad's money." The irony was delicious. I hadn't touched my trust fund in years. Instead, I'd built Eclipse Capital from scratch, turning it into a $7.2 billion investment empire while they thought I was finding myself. My phone buzzed silently in my pocket. A message from my chief operating officer, David Zhang. Bloomberg article ready. Net worth calculation confirmed. All major networks standing by for 9 p.m. reveal. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, Hong Kong's skyline glittered with possibility. Each gleaming tower housed companies that Eclipse Capital quietly controlled, though they thought they were just dealing with another anonymous investment firm. "Remember when Rachel said she was starting an investment company?" Amanda laughed to her audience. "Dad offered her a junior analyst position at Chin Holdings and she chose to be, what are you doing now, dear?" "Professional table cleaner." I moved to another table, methodically wiping its surface while mentally calculating the billions Eclipse Capital had made that week. The art of invisibility had served me well. While they mocked my supposed failure, I'd been orchestrating some of the largest deals in Asian finance. "Miss Chin," a voice whispered. Michael Lin, my head of strategy disguised as another server. "Goldman Sachs Asia CEO is here. He's asking about the mysterious buyer of their Singapore division." I nodded slightly, continuing to clean tables. That mysterious buyer was Eclipse Capital, operating through a web of shell companies so complex even the best financial investigators couldn't trace it back to me. "Still living in that small apartment?" My brother Kevin smirked as he passed. "When you're ready for real work, I might have an entry-level position." The small apartment was actually the penthouse of a building I owned. The real work he offered was at a company whose major decisions were quietly controlled by Eclipse Capital's holdings. My phone lit up again, this time from our legal team. "SEC filings complete. Ownership structures verified. Ready for 9 p.m. disclosure." I wiped another table, watching my family bask in their imagined importance. In 2 hours they would learn that while they were busy mocking the cleaning lady, she'd built one of the most sophisticated investment firms in Asia. "Rachel," Victoria sighed theatrically, "at least try to clean properly. Even as staff you're embarrassing." If she only knew that staff owned controlling interests in half the companies represented in this room. Eclipse Capital had spent 5 years methodically acquiring positions in major Asian corporations, though we'd kept our ownership structure deliberately obscure. My phone buzzed again. Financial Times exclusive ready. Eclipse Capital emerges, the hidden giant of Asian finance. Through the ballroom's windows I could see the massive screens on neighboring buildings being tested. At exactly 9 p.m., they would display Eclipse Capital's logo and my net worth to the world. The same logo Kevin had called basic when I'd first shown him my business plan. "The service entrance needs attention," Victoria called out loudly. "Rachel dear, that's more your level." The service entrance she sneered at actually led to a private elevator I'd had installed months ago, one that went straight to Eclipse Capital's secret headquarters at the top of the building. While they thought I was cleaning tables, I'd been running a multi-billion-dollar empire right above their heads. "Ladies and gentlemen," Kevin's voice boomed through the sound system. "In 1 hour, Chin Holdings will announce the largest acquisition in Asian financial history." I kept wiping tables, hiding my smile. In exactly 60 minutes, a very different kind of announcement would steal their thunder. Around me, Asia's financial elite gathered in anticipation, none of them realizing that the woman cleaning their tables controlled more wealth than anyone in the room. "Still using that old phone?" Amanda smirked, flashing her latest iPhone. "I suppose that's all you can afford on a cleaner's salary." My old phone was actually a prototype of Eclipse Capital's proprietary trading system, worth more than her annual bonus. But that was part of the carefully crafted deception. While they focused on appearances, I'd been quietly revolutionizing Asian finance. "Rachel," Victoria called out sharply, "there's a spill by the VIP table. Try not to embarrass us further while cleaning it." The VIP table was filled with executives from companies Eclipse Capital secretly controlled. I'd orchestrated their mergers, approved their strategies, and shaped their futures, all while they thought they were independent powers in Asian business. "Miss Chen," Michael whispered as he passed with a tray, "Singapore Exchange show requesting urgent meeting with Eclipse's owner regarding the merger." The merger they thought they were planning, not realizing I already controlled both companies involved. The beauty of true power is letting others think they're in charge while quietly owning everything. Until revelation. Through the windows I could see news vans gathering outside the Mandarin Oriental. They thought they were here for Chin Holdings' announcement. Instead, they'd witnessed the emergence of Asia's most powerful hidden force. Remember when Rachel tried to explain her investment strategy? Kevin laughed to a group of bankers. Dad said it sounded like she'd learned finance from YouTube. A strategy that had actually revolutionized Asian markets and generated billions in quiet profits. While they mocked my supposed ignorance, I'd been orchestrating some of the largest deals in financial history. Michael murmured as he collected empty glasses. "CNBC Asia cruise in position." I nodded slightly, moving to clean another table. My father held court at the center of the room, Robert Chin, the supposed king of Asian finance, celebrating his 65th birthday while his youngest daughter wiped tables. If he'd bothered to check the ownership structure of his recent acquisitions, he might have noticed they all led back to Eclipse Capital. "Rachel," Amanda sighed with fake sympathy, "you could at least try to network. These people run Asia's financial world. People whose companies I owned, whose strategies I controlled, whose futures would be shaped by what I was about to reveal." The waiters began serving the main course, carefully following Victoria's instructions to treat me like actual staff. The $500 per plate dinner would be cold by the time I could take a break, but that was part of the performance. Chin Holdings is about to become the most powerful firm in Asia, Kevin declared, champagne sloshing. Dad's announcement will reshape markets. My phone lit up with another message, this time from our PR team. All major Asian financial networks aligned. Building screens tested and ready. "Rachel," my father finally addressed me directly, "at least try to look professional while cleaning. You're embarrassing enough as it is." I met his gaze calmly. "Of course, Dad. I wouldn't want to miss tonight's revelations." Victoria sauntered past, designer heels clicking. "Still playing at being a businesswoman?" The one Dad's bored laughed out of the room. "Something like that." I smiled, thinking about the complex network of companies that made Eclipse Capital the hidden force behind Asian finance. The room was buzzing with anticipation. Financial reporters checked their cameras, executives huddled in groups, and my family basked in their moment of perceived triumph. "Poor Rachel," Victoria murmured to her social circle. "She could have had everything at Chin Holdings. Now she's literally serving the people she could have been working with." My phone buzzed again, a message from our acquisition team. "Final paperwork complete on Chin Holdings takeover. Ready for 9 p.m. announcement." Michael appeared beside me. "Ma'am, Eclipse systems ready. All teams standing by." Through the ballroom's windows, we could see the neighboring building's screens preparing to switch. They thought they were here for an acquisition announcement. They had no idea they were about to witness the emergence of Asia's true financial power. "Everyone gather round," Kevin called out. "Dad's announcement will change Asian financial history." My father stood at the microphone, confidence radiating. "Friends, family, distinguished colleagues." The first phones began to buzz. Every screen in the ballroom suddenly switched to the Bloomberg terminal feed. My father's words died in his throat as his own image was replaced by something very different. "Eclipse Capital revealed. Asia's hidden giant. Rachel Chin controls $7.2 billion empire. Mystery investor behind major Asian mergers unmasked." The silence was absolute. The silence shattered as hundreds of phones began buzzing simultaneously. I calmly continued wiping the table in front of me as chaos erupted around the room. The Bloomberg headline was just the beginning. "Eclipse Capital, led by CEO Rachel Chin, emerges as the controlling force behind Asia's largest financial deals, the headline screamed. The secretive firm, operating through an intricate network of shell companies, has accumulated assets worth $7.2 billion while its founder maintained a deliberate cover as a service worker. That's impossible, Kevin stammered, his glass of champagne frozen halfway to his mouth. Rachel's just a what, brother? I finally straightened up, setting down my cleaning cloth. A cleaner? Or the woman who owns controlling stakes in most of the companies you do business with? The ballroom screens switched to live data feeds. Eclipse Capital's true portfolio, our global reach, and the extensive list of companies we quietly controlled. Each revelation caused another wave of gasps through the crowd. But we checked every major investor. Amanda's voice cracked. Your firm wasn't even listed. Because I didn't want it to be, I replied, removing my service apron to reveal the impeccably tailored shirt beneath. Eclipse Capital operates through over 500 entities, including, I might add, Chin Holdings' largest institutional investors. My father stumbled forward, his usual confidence evaporating. The Singapore merger we're announcing won't be happening, I confirmed. Eclipse Capital already owns controlling interests in both firms. In fact, we control the majority of companies represented in this room. The Bloomberg article continued scrolling. Eclipse Capital's portfolio includes majority stakes in over 30 major Asian financial institutions, making Rachel Chin one of the most influential hidden forces in global finance. Victoria clutched her crystal glass like a lifeline. $7.2 billion? But that would make you the most powerful private investor in Asia, David said, emerging from the crowd in an impeccable suit. And that's before announcing our acquisition of Chin Holdings. The financial reporters in the room had recovered from their shock and were broadcasting live. In an unprecedented revelation, Eclipse Capital has emerged as the controlling force behind Asia's largest financial institutions. Its founder, Rachel Chin, who her family had relegated to cleaning tables at her own father's birthday celebration. Ma'am, Michael approached, now in executive attire. The Monetary Authority of Singapore is requesting an emergency meeting. They're concerned about market stability. Through the windows, the neighboring buildings blazed with Eclipse Capital's logo. The same logo Kevin had mocked as amateurish when I'd first shown it to him. All this time, Amanda whispered, while we were making jokes about you cleaning tables. I was building an empire, I said quietly. Every major market movement in Asia for the past 3 years? Orchestrated by Eclipse Capital. Those mysterious trades Chin Holdings couldn't explain? All us. Kevin made one last desperate attempt. The clients won't accept this. They trust Chin Holdings. Do they? I raised an eyebrow, projecting another set of data. Check your client list against Eclipse Capital's subsidiaries. You've actually been working for me for years. You just didn't know it. David approached with a tablet. The regulatory filing is live. Chin Holdings stock will be suspended at market open, pending integration into Eclipse Capital. And speaking of integration, I continued, every Chin Holdings employee will receive 2 options tomorrow. Join Eclipse Capital with quadrupled compensation packages, or accept a generous severance. Unlike some people, I believe in rewarding talent regardless of which entrance they use. Victoria's social climbing instincts kicked in. Rachel, darling, surely we can discuss this as family. Family. I turned to her. Like when you made me use the service entrance. Or when you served me cold leftovers while I was cleaning? The screens showed Eclipse Capital's true scope. Investment strategies that had revolutionized Asian finance, technology that had transformed markets, and a corporate structure that prioritized merit over appearance. Tomorrow morning, I addressed the stunned room, Eclipse Capital begins its public phase. Chin Holdings will become a subsidiary, its strategies modernized, its culture completely rebuilt. My father found his voice again. You'll destroy everything I built. No, Dad. I'll improve everything you couldn't imagine. While you were teaching Kevin how to network, I was building the future of finance. While you were mocking my cleaning job, I was revolutionizing Asian markets. The daughter you made wipe tables? She now controls your empire. Michael appeared again. Ma'am, Tokyo markets are opening. They're requesting guidance on the transition. I checked my cheap watch, the same one Amanda had mocked earlier. Tell them Eclipse Capital's protocols are now in effect. And prepare the conference room for tomorrow's global staff announcement. The ballroom had become a media circus, with cameras broadcasting the transformation live across Asia. Through the windows, the Eclipse Capital logo glowed bright against the night sky, its subtle power now unveiled for all to see. Miss Chin, a final reporter called out, one last question. Why maintain the cleaner facade for so long? I looked up at our logo, thinking about the years of careful planning, the quiet acquisitions, the patient wait for this perfect moment. Because true power doesn't need to announce itself, I replied. Sometimes the best way to build something extraordinary is to let others underestimate you. While they were mocking me for cleaning tables, I was quietly becoming their boss. As my helicopter lifted off from the building's helipad, I looked down at the transformed skyline. Sometimes the person they make clean tables becomes the one who owns the building. Sometimes the greatest victory comes from letting them think you're serving them while you're actually conquering them. And as for that cleaning cloth, I think I'll keep it. After all, some of the best deals in history were made by someone everyone underestimated, quietly building an empire while they weren't looking. The eclipse continued to spread across Hong Kong's skyline, each glowing sign now a reminder that sometimes the most powerful person in the room is the one they ordered to clean it. As the news continued to break across Asian markets, the headlines told the story that would reshape financial history. The eclipse rises. How a cleaner built a $7.2 billion empire. Asia's new queen, Rachel Chen's path from tables to triumph. From service staff to financial giant, the hidden force behind Asian finance. Chen Holdings offices were buzzing with activity as employees discovered their new reality. The quadrupled salaries and enhanced benefits sparked celebration among the staff, while the executive floor remained eerily quiet. Kevin's corner office, the one he'd bragged about for years, was being transformed into Eclipse Capital's global trading center. Amanda's precious executive lounge would become an innovation hub. And my father's elaborate suite? The new employee training facility. Ma'am, David reported, 99% of staff have accepted Eclipse Capital's offers. The remaining 1% are exclusively from the old executive team. I smiled, thinking about the lessons in humility that would follow. Sometimes the best view of success isn't from the corner office. It's from ground level, watching, waiting, and building something revolutionary while others are busy showing off their borrowed power. The eclipse had revealed itself, and its light would forever change the landscape of Asian finance.